The Kimberley, an ancient land, formed as life was first beginning to take shape on this planet. Shaped over thousands of millions of years by the elements, a land where the crocodiles have been unchanged since the time that dinosaurs roamed the earth. And the oldest continuing cultures on the planet live in harmony with nature. When you're cruising up through the gorges and you come into these huge spaces with the towering cliffs on either side and the immensity of water, you just really feel the scale of nature. You feel the relative scale of the landscape compared to yourself. Where I see all the vegetation, it takes a minute for your eyes to adjust. You see the rock figs first that are just kind of apparently jutting out of the side of an almost, it looks at first like a featureless monolith of stone. But then you get closer and you see all the little cracks. But the closer you look, the more you see vegetation on every possible habitable surface. That thing of finding these tiny little cracks and crevices where plants are just literally eking out an existence in these tiny niches. But it trains you to look for that elsewhere, and then you go back home and you start noticing that even like the bricks on your house, on like the shadier side between the bricks, there's a little bit of moss growing. Or on the cracks in the freeway, there's like grass growing, and every now and then like a little dandelion will kind of poke its head out in the middle of the stream of traffic. And it's just super like heroic, and it makes me happy that wherever you are in the world, there are just little niches where something is growing, where that nature is peeking through, and you see it how it's meant to be here, but it teaches you how to see it everywhere.
The following is an excerpt from the book Yoro Yoro, Spirit of the Kimberley by the late David Mo'ojalai, a Narranyun elder. Wollonganda, the force that created everything on earth, appeared in Lai the Dreamtime, come to put life into the water and into the land. The Creator appeared in the form of a Wandjina, mouth and chest shrouded in mist, the head surrounded by circles of lightning and cloud, his gown a curtain of rain. You see no mouth because that is beyond our understanding, our wisdom, our knowledge. It is hidden behind mist or fog. That mist separates us from higher levels that we cannot understand. Wollonganda travelled across the countries. As he walked over the soft ground, the soil formed and hardened into rivers, mountains and rocks. He made trees, shrubs and plants. He made all things of nature. His deeds are Euro Euro. Everything on earth, brand new and standing up.
The incredible thing about mangroves is what they do for the entire ecosystem. So they're working to protect the shoreline behind them, to harbour all of these creatures that depend on them. So whether that's the young hatchlings of fish, of rays and sharks, just about everything depends on the mangroves in some way or another. Pneumatophores are a really fascinating strategy that mangroves have to overcome a low oxygen environment. To allow them to breathe better, they essentially put up little snorkels along the length of their roots that allow oxygen uptake even when the roots are being submerged every single day. Mangroves are the absolute kings of adaptation. So they're able to not only prevent the uptake of salt, but also get rid of excess salt. One way that they'll do this is by pushing extra salt out to the dying leaves and dropping them, so sort of sacrificing a part of themselves to preserve the tree as a whole. With the climate changes that we're seeing across our planet, one natural way to protect our coastlines is to promote mangroves. So if we can reduce the impact of strengthening storms by planting areas that have been deforested and replenishing mangroves that have been removed, we can protect coastlines and coastal communities behind them. The geology here in the Kimberley is phenomenal. We're talking billions of years, literally, of history. When the colours hit these sandstones, the light just glows. The only thing I can compare it to is being up in the high mountains and seeing that alpenglow first thing in the morning. It's quite a beautiful experience and something that stays with you for a long time. Flying above these landscapes is a whole phenomenally different perspective. To see the vegetation change as the rock underneath it changes, to see the rivers and billabongs winding their way through the stone. It's an aerial view that is like nothing else on Earth. thing on a Zodiac cruise is that you're on a treasure hunt for wildlife. You never quite know what you're going to find, and that keeps it super exciting, whether it's the birds singing in the mangroves in the morning or a splash in the water ahead that turns into a turtle.
We are not above nature, we are very much a part of nature. We have to see ourselves as a part of nature and respect that this is our home and the only one we've got as well. The birds of prey, like the white-bellied seagull, that's always just such a stunning sight, because there's such a large bird. They've got a great coloration, and the way they just soar around, just lazily around the place. They're things that are exciting.
The coolest thing about cruising up these river systems is being in the presence of an apex predator. It's quite something to travel through a landscape and feel small and vulnerable in a way. So I think it's very exciting to travel looking for these prehistoric beasts and appreciating their place in the ecosystem.
For me personally, to be able to showcase our culture not only tells people that we still are a strong culture and a tribe, but it also tells people, it shows people that the history of where you come from, culture is one aspect of it, history is the other, and how does the culture and the history continue to this day in different ways. When you talk about culture, we have over 500 different language groups in Australia. So every language group comes from a different tribe. So each tribe have the different connection to the different lands around them and in the way they practice. We have the same values, which is the land and the language and practices, the way we do things sometimes, but we all are different in different ways. So for us, me, up this way in the Dampier Peninsula is so remote, but the remoter the area, the more the practice is still continuing.